What is up, guys? The combine's almost here, so you know what that means. I'm doing another mock draft. Since this is my last mock draft before the combine, what I'm going to do is instead of one round like I did last time, I'm going to do a full 2-round mock draft just so I can dive into some of the prospects that you guys need to look out for and maybe throw some surprises in the first round. But, to nobody's surprise, the first overall pick is, of course, Fernando Mendoza. Um, he's the best player in the draft, arguably the best player in the draft. He's the best quarterback in the draft. There's no discussion about this. If you guys want to hear me talk about Fernando Mendoza to the Raiders, geez, go watch the last video because it's an absolute lock that he's going to the Raiders at this point. And I don't even think there's much to discuss at this point. I mean, he's the best quarterback in the draft, and he is going to make an impact at the next level. I mean, just keeping it short. Pick number 2, I have David Bailey going to the New York Jets. He is the best speed rusher in the draft, and you very well could have easily gone with Ruben Bain here or Arvo Reese, or even maybe like a Caleb Downs. But he's going to get to the quarterback more than anybody else in this class, in my opinion. And the Jets need a guy who can just make an impact on the defensive side of the ball. They got 0 interceptions last year, and I don't think that was just because of the secondary. I think it's because they literally could not get a pass rush. Being able to have a guy who can break through the offensive line, use his speed to break the edge. He can set the edge in the run game just fine. He's not great in the run, but he's okay in the run. But just being able to make an impact, forcing bad throws out of the quarterback, I think it's going to go a long way for the Jets defense. Pick number 3 is a pick that has confused me a lot. I've been mocking offensive tackle here a lot, specifically Francis Mauigoa, especially with Jonah Williams being a free agent. But I'm going to go a different direction here. I'm going to go with Jeremiah Love. James Conner's getting up there in age. He's coming off of a huge injury. And, I mean, Trey Benson is just not the guy there. I personally like Trey Benson, but apparently Arizona doesn't. So, I mean, getting a guy like Jeremiah Love could really, really help open up your weapons on the outside, like a Michael Wilson or a Marvin Harrison, especially Marvin Harrison, because he needs it right about now. And it would only help Trey McBride. And Trey McBride's a great blocker as well. Jeremiah Love would have a ball in that offense if they can figure out the quarterback situation. But here is not where you can do that. I mean, you're not going to draft Ty Simpson at 3. You're not going to draft Cade Klubnik or Drew Aller at 3. You're not going to draft any of those guys. Jeremiah Love is a game-changing running back. He's going to be a Bijan Robinson. He's going to be a Jahmyr Gibbs. He's going to be a Saquon Barkley, even just the impact that he's going to bring to the field. And I think that Arizona needs that more than anybody. I'm going to keep it rolling here with pick number 4. I have the Tennessee Titans taking Arvo Reese out of Ohio State. In my opinion, he's going to go into the league as a pure edge rusher simply because he has the tools to do so. I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, he's going to be Mike. He's going to be a Mike. I don't think so. He's great at it, but you know what else he's great at? Getting to the quarterback. He played less than 100 pass rush snaps last year, but he did his thing. You know what I mean? Like, he's able to get to the quarterback, and he's going to be able to get to the quarterback at the next level, especially with the tools that he has. He's competing in drills at the combine. I cannot wait to see how he stands up against the rest of the linebacker class and the rest of the edge class, because he is a monster on the outside, and I think Tennessee needs a guy like that. I almost went with Carnell Tate here just because getting Cam Ward another weapon would be great, but I mean, getting a guy like Arvo Reese to just completely change their defense, especially in the long run, is going to be huge for their future. Pick number 5. Here is where I have Caleb Downs going, and this was a hard one for me because Caleb Downs is a safety. And in my last mock draft, I had him going 7 to the Commanders. But even 5, he's going so high for a safety. If you look at pure value base, he is already, if he goes number 5, going to be one of the highest paid safeties in football just based on his entry-level contract. And I don't know how many teams are going to be willing to do that. But I think the Giants are one of those teams. You have John Harbaugh coming in as your new head coach, who, like I said in the last video, has had plenty of elite safeties across his career with Ed Reed and Kyle Hamilton leading his defenses. He knows that having an elite safety is invaluable to a championship-winning defense. And if New York is looking to compete in the near future, having a guy like Caleb Downs, who is, in my opinion, the best player in the draft, and who is simply just bust-proof, he's so good. Having him alongside someone like Javon Holland and behind guys like Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau, even if he doesn't get traded, Dexter Lawrence, and I mean, even like a returning Micah McFadden to bolster up the inside of the field. Caleb Downs is going to make an immediate impact in New York. Pick 6. Usually I go wide receiver here, but since the board fell this way, I have to go with Francis Maui-Noah out of Miami. He is, in my opinion, the best tackle in the draft, and Cleveland just lost every single one of their offensive linemen that was a starter in 2025. And bolstering up that offensive line is the biggest need for them right now. I know they need a lot more. They need weapons. They arguably need some play in the secondary, but getting a guy like Maui Noah to just be the number one guy on your offensive line, he can be your right tackle day one. He's going to make an impact. And even if you go bolster up the tackle positions in free agency, he can slide inside and play guard if you want him to. Maui Noah is going to be a starter on this team until the day he is no longer a Cleveland Brown. And I think this is an invaluable pick at 6. Pick 7, I have Ruben Bain not falling as far as he did in the last draft, and I have him going 7 to the Washington Commanders. Ruben Bain is just a freak of nature, dude. He gets to the quarterback like no other in just ways that only he can in this draft. He uses his power so well, and his counter moves with those power moves are just so good. He's able to put his hands on the tackle's pads, throw them away, really, and then have a free lane to the backfield. And even if that doesn't work, he can just use the threat of his power and then swim move on the outside, and he's already there because tackles are already in position to go for his power move, which is the best in the class by far. Ruben Bain made such a big impact at the college level, and I don't see why he wouldn't make an impact in the NFL. Pick number 8. This could go a lot of ways. New Orleans needs a good amount of things, but they're in a mode to compete. And I like the idea of Sonny Styles manning up their defense. Demario Davis has been their Mike for the longest time, and he's finally hitting free agency. And I don't think there's anyone better to replace him than Sonny Styles out of Ohio State. Sonny Styles is a converted safety. He's an athletic freak. He's a big guy. He's 6'5", 243. I mean, he makes every single play in the run game. When he sees a pulling guard, he knows exactly where he needs to go. And whenever the running back reaches his level, he's making that tackle 99 times out of 100. He missed one tackle in college that I can recall. The only caveat to Sonny Styles is he's not amazing in pass coverage for being a converted safety, in my opinion. He's great. But for being a converted safety, I think he could be better in pass coverage. But I mean, just the IQ that this guy has along with his athleticism, he is going to test so well this week, and I cannot wait to watch him. And I think that he's going to fly up draft boards and would be a real consideration at even like pick 5 to the Giants. But I'd have him landing here at number 8 to the Saints. Pick number 9. This is where Jeremiah Love usually goes, but Carnell Tate is on the board, and getting Patrick Mahomes a X like that is just invaluable in my opinion. Carnell Tate would immediately come in and be the best receiver on the Chiefs, in my opinion. I don't know what Rashee Rice is going to do this. I don't know if he's going to play. I don't know what his suspension's looking like. Xavier Worthy's not that guy, in my opinion. He's okay as a Z. He's okay in the slot, but he's good as like a gadget guy. Rashee Rice is just a lot better in the screen game. He can still be used as a gadget guy that way. But if you want a guy to just go downfield and make contested catches, extend plays while Patrick Mahomes is doing his magic in the backfield, I don't think there's anybody better than Carnell Tate for fitting that role. This would be a scary sight for every other AFC team. And as a Ravens fan, I hope it doesn't happen, but Carnell Tate would just be a perfect fit in Kansas City if he were to fall all the way to 9. Pick number 10, I have Mansour Delane out of LSU going to the Cincinnati Bengals. I know it's a popular pick to go interior D-line, but they need secondary. They need secondary bad. And I'm in firm belief that Mansour Delane will be the first cornerback off the board come April. He is unbelievable in man. He's unbelievable in zone. He's very speedy. He's the prototype cornerback, and he has okay size. He's not athletic. He is very athletic. He's not some specimen. He's 6'1", 190, but I mean, he gets the job done. And it's arguable that they could go Jermod McCoy here. But the fact that Jermod McCoy didn't play in 2025 because of his torn ACL and Mansour Delane did is what puts Mansour Delane over the edge for me here. And I think the Bengals would be ecstatic with this pick. I think Mansour Delane is arguably a top 10 player in this draft, and he would immediately become the best cornerback on that team, either him or DJ Turner. But God knows that they need somebody across from DJ Turner, and Mansour Delane is that guy. Pick number 11. This is where I have Jermon McCoy going. It doesn't matter who they get. Miami's going to take a cornerback, in my opinion. It's going to be either Delane or McCoy. Unless they're somehow both gone, then I think they could pivot. But, I mean, Jermon McCoy has arguably the best tape in this entire cornerback class. He is just so sticky. He sticks to his receiver, he sticks to his matchup, and he makes plays on the ball. He's not going to get a lot of penalties. And like I said about Mansour Delane, he doesn't have elite size. He's 6'1", 193. He's almost the same exact size as Mansour Delane. I think Delane has a little bit longer arms as well. But I mean, McCoy just knows how to play cornerback. He knows what to do. He knows how to make plays. He knows how to prevent receivers from catching footballs. And that's really all you need out of a quarterback. This pick just makes the most sense for Miami, and I think they would be walking away very, very happy campers. Pick number 12, I have Keldrick Falk going back to the Dallas Cowboys. I made this pick in my last mock, and I mean, it's not a super popular one, but it screams Dallas Cowboys. I think Dallas switches to a 3-4 base, and he is the perfect 5 tech in my opinion. He reminds me so much of like early years Calais Campbell, and I know he's not going to have the impact that JJ Watt has, but he screams JJ Watt to me, just based on pure like aggressiveness at the line of scrimmage and just coming out of his 3-down stance where he just uses all of his leg power to just burst right in between the tackles, and then he can go speed to power too. He's not the fastest. He's not as fast as JJ Watt was, but he is able to use the threat of that first step to get around the tackle and then swim move inside if he needs to, or just threaten his speed and then push right through a tackle, and then boom, the tackle's going with him to the backfield. He's an absolute freak. I mean, he's a big guy. He's what, he's 6'6", 285. That's a big guy. And I think having him on a defensive line alongside Quinnen Williams would really shore up that edge spot for Dallas, especially after losing Micah. I know he's not going to play the Micah Parsons role. I think they switch up their defense a little bit, but he's going to give them some consistent pass rush, and that's what they really need. Quinnen Williams isn't going to be able to do everything on that defensive line. Pick number 13. This has been a popular pick, and it makes so much sense. I have Mekhi Lemon going to the Los Angeles Rams. Mekhi Lemon is such an electric player. He's not the biggest guy. He doesn't have the longest arms, but he can catch everything. I did some research on this yesterday, actually. He has the second highest contested catch rate among college football receivers in 2025, behind, I think, only Chris Brazzell. It was either Chris Brazzell. No, it was Kevin Coleman out of Missouri. Yeah. But regardless, besides the point, Mekhi Lemon comes down with everything. But I think most importantly about Mekhi Lemon is if he catches the ball in space, it's almost impossible to bring him down. He's not the fastest guy, but he uses his speed in unbelievable ways. He can rush through a safety if you need him to. He has the shoulders for that. He fits really good alongside a guy like Puka Nacua, and I think in maybe the last couple of years of Matthew Stafford's career, that having a guy like Mekhi Lemon across from one of the best receivers in all of football would help them compete for that championship that they could have had this year. Pick 14. I have the Baltimore Ravens going with Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. I almost went with Vega Ione here, but I did that last time and I'm just switching it up a little bit. Jordan Tyson's an absolute monster. There's an argument that he's even better than Mekhi Lemon, and there's an argument that he's even better than Carnell Tate when he's healthy, though. That's the thing. If he's not going to be able to stay healthy at the pro level, that's a major concern, because he's not shown that he can stay healthy at the collegiate level either. But I think taking a risk on a guy with this level of talent is necessary. And I think a team like Baltimore, who just needs receiver bad, they've needed receiver every single year of Lamar Jackson's career, it seems like. And having him alongside Zay Flowers can be your quick screen guy. He can be a secure deep threat as well. But having a guy who can just cook up his matchup in the intermediate game with his elite route running will really open up some things in this brand new Baltimore offense led by Declan Doyle. And I think it will give Lamar Jackson the best chance at winning a championship if he can stay healthy. That's it. If he can stay healthy. Pick number 15, I have Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon, going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sadiq is easily the best tight end in this class, and Cade Otton is a free agent, and I know Cade Otton didn't really do much last year. He struggled with some injury, but Tampa Bay didn't get a touchdown out of tight end until week 16. That's insane. Having a guy like Kenyon Sadiq play alongside Emeka Egbuka for the future, Jalen McMillan for the future, Tez Johnson for the future, and even Mike Evans for this year if he were to return, which I think he does, really just opens up a lot of things on this offense. Like I said about Jordan Tyson with the Ravens, Kenyon Sadiq comes down with absolutely everything. Kenyon Sadiq is able to run past your safety. He's able to run past your linebackers. He's a speedy guy, and he's an absolute ham hock. Did you see that picture I put up? That guy's a freak. 6'3", 245, but that 245 is all muscle. I mean, the guy's a monster, and he's also unbelievably elite in the run game. Nobody talks about it, but he is one of the best run blockers in this entire class as well. He's the best pass catching tight end in this class, and he's the best run blocking tight end in this class. So I don't think there's any reason that he should fall further than this, unless he somehow makes it all the way down to like the Chargers perhaps, or the Eagles, like I mocked him last video. I just think that if he's here for Tampa Bay at 15, it's hard for them to pass on him, especially considering how high Tyler Warren and Colson Loveland went last year. And I think that Kenyon Sadiq will be among those guys. Pick 16, I have the New York Jets taking a surprise pick here. Usually I would go receiver here. Like I could go with someone like Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion, Omar Cooper's a popular pick here. But I'm going to go with Caleb Banks out of Florida. Caleb Banks is just, he's Chris Jones. That's exactly what it is. He's Chris Jones. He's unbelievably athletic, especially for his size. He's 6'6", 330. That is a massive, massive defensive tackle. And he plays like he doesn't have a helmet and pads on. He just throws his body weight around and just abuses offensive linemen. His ability to get in the backfield by breaking double teams and using swim moves and using power moves, he's the best defensive tackle in this class, in my opinion. Peter Woods is a very popular player in this class, but I just think Caleb Banks is a little bit better. We didn't see much of him in 2025. He had some injury issues, but his tape, not only this year, but especially in 2024, was just unbelievable. He was the best player on the Florida Gators, and I think that having him replace Quinn Williams in that New York Jets defense will go a long way. I mean, he is an absolute freak. That's about it. Pick 17, I have the Detroit Lions taking Spencer Fano out of Utah. And I know that it just came out that Taylor Decker is returning. But if I'm being honest, I still think Fano is a perfect fit. You have him to back up any single position on your offensive line outside of Graham Glasgow at center for 2026. And if anybody goes down, if Penei Sewell, God forbid, were to go down, Taylor Decker goes down, or one of the offensive guards like Christian Mahogany or Tate Ratledge, they could go down. Spencer Fano will be a plug and play wherever they need him. He can go inside, he can play outside. And once Taylor Decker retires, I think it's very possible that Penei Sewell moves to the left side. I mean, Penei Sewell is arguably the best tackle in the entire NFL, and he's doing it on the right side. If he can move over to Jared Goff's blind side, I think that could be even better. And even if Penei Sewell stays on the right, Spencer Fano can play left. He played left in 2024, I believe. I mean, he switched to right, obviously, because Caleb Lomu was playing left. But he has played left before. Look, he played left all of 2023. And I think that he could slide left if need be. I mean, he will fit in with the Detroit Lions offensive line no matter what. It's already been said in the Lions organization that no matter what Taylor Decker's decision was, they were going to target offensive line this offseason. And the fact that Spencer Fano is there at 17, I think makes this a home run pick for the Lions. Pick number 19 is one where I usually go cornerback because that's just Minnesota's biggest need and it's not even close. But I think I'm going to go with Caden McDonald out of Ohio State here. Caden McDonald is the best pure nose tackle in this entire class, and he's a perfect fit in Minnesota, in my opinion. You have guys like Jonathan Allen there still, obviously, but I mean, their defensive line is getting really, really old. And having Caden McDonald to he could play on the inside of them this year. He's a plug-and-play player day one. He can play on the inside of those guys this year. But once those guys retire, he can play arguably anywhere on the defensive line. I mean, he's just as big as a guy like Caleb Banks. He's 6'3", 326. He doesn't have the power that Caleb Banks has. He doesn't have the speed that Caleb Banks has. But what he does have is elite run defense and elite block shedding. And I think that even if they don't go cornerback in round one, it's very valuable to have a guy who is able to shore up at least one part of the defense, because having him in a Brian Flores system just sounds so wonderful to me. Pick 19. I have the Carolina Panthers going with a surprise pick here. I don't know if many people have mocked this, but I have them going with Omar Cooper out of Indiana. Um, it's getting really, really popular to say that Omar Cooper is going to be the fourth receiver off the board. I've had some people mock him third over someone like Jordan Tyson simply because of the injury. I don't think that happens, obviously. I'm not doing it today. But I think Omar Cooper would be an unbelievable fit in Carolina. You have guys like Ted McMillan and Jalen Coker as your surefire 1 and 2 on the outside. And if you look here, he played half of his snaps in 2025 in the slot. Maybe not half, almost half. But he played a lot of his snaps in the slot at Indiana. And I think he could be an unbelievable slot next to a guy like Ted, next to a guy like Jalen Coker with Bryce Young throwing him the ball. Bryce Young could always use more weapons. You could always use more weapons with any team. But I mean, just having him on the inside, obviously the Xavier Legette situation didn't work. He was a first round pick and he didn't pan out to be good, which surprised me. I was very high on Legette. But I mean, Omar Cooper would just transform this offense to an even higher level if they keep Rico Dowdle, which I don't know if they will. They already extended Chuba Hubbard. Omar Cooper would just make plays in this offense. And I think that would really help them go to the next level at trying to repeat as NFC South champions. Pick number 20, I have the Dallas Cowboys going with Brandon Cisse out of South Carolina. This is one guy that I want to point out as a guy that you need to watch at the Combine. Brandon Cisse is an athletic freak. And I mean, he doesn't have insane size. Like I said, for the rest of his cornerback class, he's 6'1", 190, just like everybody else, it seems. But I mean, he's going to run faster than everybody. He's going to hit harder than everybody. He is going to test unbelievably well. And that's why I have him as high as pick 20 here, is because I think he's going to test insanely good. And I think that's going to really turn some teams on, especially the Dallas Cowboys, who need cornerback. Last mock, I had them taking Avion Terrell, who's on the board here. I just wanted to show some love to Brandon Cisse. And it's a real possibility that he doesn't even fall 220 after the Combine. But, I mean, that's where I have him going here. I think he fits Dallas' scheme perfectly. Dallas loves a guy who is just an athletic monster. They drafted Byron Jones back in the day, who I'm pretty sure still has the record for the longest jump in Combine history. Brandon Cisse will make an immediate impact in this Dallas defense, and I think this is a home run pick. Pick number 21. The fact that he fell this far is kind of insane to me, and as a Ravens fan, I hate this, but I have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking Vega Ione out of Penn State. Vega Ione is the best offensive lineman in the class, in my opinion. He's an absolute monster. He just throws his weight around. If he's a pulling guard, he just destroys opposing linebackers. He's great in pass pro, and he can just slot in right at left guard. No problem for the Pittsburgh Steelers day one. You already have your left tackle and your right tackle of the future. Obviously, Broderick Jones isn't anything special, but Troy Fautanu has had a really good first couple of years in the league. And so I don't think they go tackle here, but Vega Ione is just a perfect fit in Pittsburgh. You know, they love their guard. They had David DeCastro manning up the guard spot for a really long time. Vega Ione could just be the guy in Pittsburgh for at least the next 5 years until he hits free agency. But, I mean, he's going to be a freak. Outside of Caleb Downs, I think he's the only other bust-proof player in this class. Maybe Mendoza as well, just because of how smart he is as a quarterback. But Vega is going to be a star guard in this league. And I think that Pittsburgh is the perfect place for him. Pick 22. I have the Los Angeles Chargers taking Avion Terrell out of Clemson. It wasn't talked about a lot last year, but the cornerback play in LA was not great. They had great pass rush, so it got there fast with guys like Tuli Tuipulotu and Odafe Owe for half the year. But you didn't really see any quick breakdowns out of the secondary. But they happened. They happened on film. They happened in game. They just didn't have time to throw the ball because obviously Jesse Minter was sending heat. But now that you have guys like Khalil Mack and Odafe Owe hitting free agency, you could easily go edge here. But I think that having a guy like Avion Terrell, who is, in my opinion, the best man corner in this entire class, is just exactly what they need. Just in case Tuli Tuipulotu doesn't get there every single play, just in case whoever else they end up having at edge doesn't get there every single play. Having Avion Terrell just sticking to his man is just going to be key. He can play inside, he can play outside. Again, he's not as big as the other people in the class who aren't big at all, but I mean, he's an inch shorter. He's about 10 pounds lighter than everybody else, but he makes plays. He makes plays consistently. He makes unbelievable plays at that. And I think that he fits perfectly and would immediately be the best coverage guy in LA. and would allow Derwin James to open up as well. He can play more in the box, knowing that he has consistent corners on the outside. I know they have Cam Hart, but I think that Avion Terrell immediately comes in and is better than Cam Hart in this defense. That leads me to pick number 23, where I have the Philadelphia Eagles going Caden Proctor out of Alabama. I mean, my God, Howie Roseman loves his SEC guys, and this guy just screams Philadelphia. I don't think he's going to translate very well at tackle, but immediately he can step in and play guard. He's going to be a great guard. They had Mekhi Becton for a year, and he won a Super Bowl with him. I mean, he is Mekhi Becton to a T. This guy is absolutely massive. He's 6'7", 366. He's the biggest guy in the class, but he's also one of the strongest guys in the class. He's going to be elite in the run game if he goes inside. I think the Eagles would make a mistake here drafting him this high and playing him at tackle once Lane Johnson retires or, God forbid, gets hurt. I think you need to step in and make him a guard as quickly as possible, and then this becomes amazing value. They went Alabama last year in the first round with Jahad Campbell. You look how that turned out. He was great for the time that he was actually on the field, and I think they're going to look to get that out of Caden Proctor as well. Pick number 24, the Cleveland Browns are back on the clock, and I have them going with Denzel Boston out of Washington. I say it every single draft. I mean, I think that Cleveland walks away with an offensive lineman and a receiver in the first round, and Denzel Boston is just the best guy available, in my opinion. He's 6'4". He's going to make every single play down the field. He's going to make contested catches. He's a really good route runner, too. He's not the best route runner, and he's not the fastest guy, but he's big. And he comes down with every single jump ball, it seems. I mean, his vertical is through the roof for a guy his size. And I think having him on the other side of Jerry Jeudy is a very good compliment. Jerry Jeudy just hasn't been getting it done. I think Denzel Boston could even end up being the X in this offense when the time comes. But in year one, I think he's the perfect Z. It gives Shadur Sanders, if he's the quarterback, a unbelievable deep threat. And I think they're ecstatic if they walk away with both Maui Noah and Denzel Boston in this first round. Pick number 25. I have the Chicago Bears stopping the fall, and I have them taking Peter Woods out of Clemson. Peter Woods had an unbelievable 2024. He had an unbelievable sophomore year. He had an unbelievable freshman year in 2023 as well. But he had a very down junior year. His power went away a little bit. His pass rush went away a little bit. But he was also dealing with some injuries. And I very much think that the talent that I saw out of Peter Woods in 2023 and 2024 can come back at the next level. I saw Bengal say this in his mock draft that came out on Monday, but I think the best football for Peter Woods is ahead of him. And I think that having him in a Chicago defense is going to be perfect for unlocking his pure ability and bringing back his pass rush, bringing back his speed, bringing back his power. Everything that he lacked in 2025, I think comes back. And I think that Chicago is getting an absolute steal here. Pick number 26. It's popular to have Buffalo going with receiver here. I'm going to go with Akeem Mesidor out of Miami. Akeem Mesidor is arguably the best pass rusher in this entire class, but his only caveat is that he's 25 years old. Well, he's going to be 25 years old as a rookie. But, I mean, he's already the most polished guy we've seen go so far. And I think that having him in Buffalo with guys like Joey Bosa here to help him, I think would be great for his development because he doesn't really need any development. You already have a very polished pass rusher. Right now, when you're trying to win, he's not going to get paid until he's 29 or 30 years old, which is another big key. This isn't great for Mesidor himself and his pockets, I guess, but I mean, this is unbelievable value for the Buffalo Bills. I think he could go as high as like 15 to Tampa Bay. Mesidor has shown what he's going to do at the pro level, and I think that Buffalo is going to fall in love with that, especially after the combine. Pick number 27, I have the San Francisco 49ers going with Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M. Cassius Howell is not going to be a three-down guy. He's not going to be great against the run. He's not going to be a very powerful guy. He's kind of undersized as an edge rusher. He's coming in as 6'2", 248. But when it comes to pure pass rush, pure speed rush on the edge, he's no David Bailey, but geez, he's good. He's very good. His tape is great. He gets to the quarterback at will. He has trouble finishing plays sometimes. His arms aren't super long, but just because of how tall he is. Like, they're proportionate, obviously, but he's not super long as a player, and I think that knocks him a little bit. but he can get to the quarterback at will. If you need a guy on third down, third and intermediate, third and long to just come and get the quarterback, I think Cassius Howe is the perfect guy to do that. And when you have guys like Nick Bosa who just can't stay on the field, I mean, you get Cassius Howe, and I think you scream with joy. Pick 28, I have the Houston Texans taking Caleb Lomu out of Utah. Outside of the guys that played left tackle in 2025, I don't think you're going to find a better player than Caleb Lomu, and he falls all the way to 28 to Houston, and I think he steps right in and becomes their starter. If you have Ariante Ursary, who's their starter right now, step in and play left guard, and then have Caleb Lomu on the outside, I think that just unlocks a whole lot of things for this offense. It's going to protect CJ Stroud better. Maybe he can get back to the form he had as a rookie. I mean, you're going to get Tank Dell back, perhaps. We don't know. But it's going to give Nico Collins more time to go down the field. It's going to give whoever they have at running back, whether that's Woody Marks or whether that's a guy that is drafted, more time in the backfield to decipher blocks, and is just going to give them better holes, especially on the left side, because Ursary's good. But, I mean, Lomu is an absolute dog, and I could not have him falling out of the first round. I love Lomu as a prospect. I think he's at or near my top 20 players in this entire class, and I think that he fits in like a glove in Houston if they use him properly. Pick number 29. I'm going to show some love to Chris Johnson out of San Diego State and have him going to the Los Angeles Rams here. I haven't seen Chris Johnson getting first round talks at all, but this is my favorite player in this entire class. This might be a personal pick for me, but I don't care. Chris Johnson is so sticky in man coverage. I said that about Avion Terrell. I said that about Jermod McCoy. Chris Johnson does it so well. He's 6 foot 195, just like the rest of the class. But I think he's going to translate as a great nickel as well. He can play on the outside or he can play inside. You can slot him wherever you need him in your defense. He's going to give you production instantly. He's so good in man coverage, and he's so good in zone coverage. He's not a Jermod McCoy. He's not a Mansour Delane. But I think he deserves first round talk. I think he deserves to be in the conversation with a guy like Avion Terrell or with a guy like Brandon Cisse. And I think the combine is really going to help his case. He's going to show out. His hips are so fluent. His head rotates at the perfect time. His arms get to the ball. His tape blew me away, and I had to give him some first-round love. Rams fans, if you end up getting Chris Johnson in the first round of this draft, don't walk away saying, who is that? Walk away saying, oh, this guy's a dog. Pick number 30. I'm going to do a pick that I repeated from the last mock, and I'm going to have CJ Allen going to the Denver Broncos at 30. CJ Allen is he's so good. He's so bulky, and he's so good in the run. He's just a very, very smart linebacker. He reminds me very much of Roquan Smith when he came out in 2018, I want to say. And he's going to make an immediate impact at the next level. I went in depth about this pick in my last mock, so if you want to hear about it, go check that out. But I just think that this is a home run pick, and I might make this pick for the rest of the time for the Denver Broncos. Pick number 31. This may be a surprise to some people because I haven't seen him getting a lot of first-round talk, but I'm going to go with R. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma here. This guy is an absolute freak on the outside. He's going to make plays. He reminds me a lot of Cassius Howell in this class as to like him being undersized a little bit. He's 6'2", 250. But unlike Cassius Howell, I think he has the chops in the run game to become a consistent 3-down player. He has the size for it. He has the arm length for it. And when it comes to just pure pass rush, he uses his power and his speed at a combination better than arguably anybody in this class. His tape was unbelievable. I know his name is weird, but in my opinion, having one initial as your first name is the coolest thing ever. I know that doesn't matter, but he passes the name test for me. R. Mason Thomas is so sick. I think Patriots fans would be ecstatic with this pick, should be ecstatic with this pick. And I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up going in the first round in April. And I'm putting him here because I'm calling it early. Pick number 32, to round out the first round, I have the Seattle Seahawks going with Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech. Let's face the facts. Leonard Williams is getting up there in age, and Lee Hunter is an absolute freak. And I don't care who gets him, he needs to go in the first round. He reminds me of Caleb Banks a lot. Like I said about R. Mason Thomas reminding me of Cassius Howell, I think Lee Hunter is just very much a version of Caleb Banks. He has the size that Caleb Banks has. I mean, he's 6'4", 330. He's a couple inches shorter, but he's got the weight. And he uses it with pure athleticism. I mean, similar to Banks, he throws around his weight. He plays like he doesn't have or a helmet and pads on. And I think that having a guy like Lee Hunter in a Seattle defense where they value athletic freaks like that, they drafted Nicky Minwori last year, and he was a huge impact on their defense. He could arguably replace Leonard Williams at like a 4-eye spot. Regardless of where he plays, I think Mike McDonald is going to know how to make an impact out of Lee Hunter. With the first pick of the second round, I'm going to have the New York Jets going with Casey Concepcion out of Texas A&M. We have a lot of Texas guys going in these first 2 rounds, and Casey is just an unbelievable talent. I don't think he's as good as consensus says he is. I don't think he's better than a Denzel or a Omar Cooper, but his separation ability is just unmatched. And he's great in the screen game. Once you get the ball in his hands, he's so explosive. He's 5'11", 190. He's going to be able to make plays. I don't think he's going to be a consistent, like, contested catch guy, but you get him in space and you got a very valuable player. You have a very explosive player. And that's exactly what the Jets need here at 33. Pick 34, I have the Arizona Cardinals going with Max Iheanacher out of Arizona State. This is a guy that's going to immediately come in and be your starting right tackle day one. Unless Jonah Williams resigns, but this is coming out pre-free agency. We have no idea. But Iheanacher, I think if you're not going to get Maui Noah at 3, if you're not going to get Fano at 3, I think that Iheanacher at 34 is a perfect replacement. He's a guy that had an unbelievable Senior Bowl. His stock rose so much. He was coming in as maybe an early day 3 pick before the Senior Bowl, and now he's getting first round talk. So I'm going to show him some love at 34 here. He has unbelievable size. He uses his arms very well. He has good hips. I mean, he's an all-around good tackle. And I think that he would fit in really well replacing Jonah Williams. He plays very similar to Jonah Williams, and he's great in pass pro, which is key, especially with how much Arizona throws the ball. Jacoby Brissett had 47 completions last year. But I think this would be a knockout of the park if they walked out with Jeremiah Love and Max Iheanacher in the first 2 rounds of this draft. Pick number 35, I have the Tennessee Titans going with Chase Basantis out of Texas A&M. Another A&M guy going. But Chase Basantis, other than Vega Ione, is arguably the best guard in this entire class. You have like Emmanuel Pregnon up there as well. But similar to Max Iheanacher, he had an unbelievable Senior Bowl, and his stock is also rising. And I think that drafting him to shore up your offensive line and protect your number 1 pick quarterback alongside a guy like Arvell Reese on your defense would be just unbelievably important for the future of this team. And I think this would be a great pick as well. Obviously, I think all of these picks are going to be great picks. I'm making them. Pick number 36, I have the Las Vegas Raiders taking Colton Hood out of Tennessee. Colton Hood stepped up last year when Jermon McCoy was hurt and became the number 1 cornerback in Tennessee, and he had a great season. He is unbelievable man coverage. He plays a lot like Mansour Delane, more than Jermon McCoy, in my opinion. But he's got the speed, he's got the man, he's got the zone. I don't think he's as consistent as a guy like Delane. I think he's got some grabby hands, but he's got unbelievable ball skills. And I think that his performance in 2025, along with the fact that I think he's going to test very well at the Combine, will have him flying up draft boards. I know I had him in the first round last mock, but I mean, he's just outside of the first round in this mock, and the Raiders would be a great fit. He immediately comes in and is the best cornerback on that team. Pick number 37, I have the New York Giants taking Monroe Freeling out of Georgia. Monroe Freeling is a guy that should have gone in the first round in this mock. I just had him falling, and he is just a monster. You saw that picture I just put up. This guy is huge. He's 6'7", 315, and he can immediately, day one, be your starting right tackle at the next level. I know he's played left tackle his entire collegiate career, but I think that he really translates well to the other side. Having a guy like John Harbaugh helping with that offensive line, I think Greg Roman is now a part of that offense, and he can shore up that run game out of Freeling on the other side. Freeling uses his size very much to his advantage, and I think that just translates very well to the other side. I think he can just learn just to mirror everything he does on the left, and I think could become very valuable alongside a guy like Andrew Thomas on the left side. And it's not like Andrew Thomas is always on the field either. Andrew Thomas has injury issues, so when he goes down, Monroe Freeling can just immediately step in and be your left tackle and continue protecting Jackson Dart's blind side and keeping your young quarterback healthy. That leads me to pick 38, where I have the Houston Texans going with Darrell Jackson Jr. out of Florida State. I don't know if this is a guy many of you have heard of, but I personally love this defensive tackle class, and Daryl Jackson Jr. is one of my guys in this class. He is so explosive off the line of scrimmage. You've seen a trend with these defensive tackles in this class that I really like, with Caleb Banks and Lee Hunter. Daryl Jackson's another version of them. He's just as big as they are. He uses his arms very well. He uses his athleticism very well. And he's unbelievable against the run as well. I mean, you very much could have gone with a guy like Kristen Miller, who's still here, or Dante Corleone, or Big Citrus, who's really popular right about now. But I think that Daryl Jackson is just better. Simple as that. Daryl Jackson screams effective D tackle in the league for me. He may never be like an all-pro level guy, but he could make a Pro Bowl in his day. And having him on a defensive line with Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter on the outside is just terrifying. Pick 39, the Cleveland Browns are up for a third time, and here's where I have them taking interior offensive line, and I have them going with Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon. Pregnon, other than Chase Wisantis, like I said, and Vega Ione, is the best guard in the class. Well, top 3, of course, because he's going top 3 guard in the class. But, I mean, he would be a perfect fit next to a guy like Francis Mauigoa. He could slide in at either guard spot and immediately make an impact on this team. And he's just an absolute beast in the run game. And I think that Cleveland would love walking away with 2 offensive linemen in the first 40 picks of this draft. Pick number 40, I have the Kansas City Chiefs taking Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I always try to get McNeil-Warren in the first round because just how explosive he is as a player. But he just happened to fall in this mock, and he falls right into the Kansas City Chiefs' lap. I mean, he's the perfect fit on this defense. He's probably the perfect fit in any defense. He's so explosive. He's going to hit you so hard. He can play in the box. He can make plays on the ball. I mean, in my opinion, he's a top 25 player in this class. He very well could go in the first round. But like I said with Caleb Downs, positional value with safeties is something that's very concerning in this league. And I think there's a decent chance that he actually does make it here. And if he does, the Kansas City Chiefs are getting 2 absolute home run picks with their first 2 picks with Cardinal Tate and Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. We have back-to-back Emmanuels off the board, but I think this Emmanuel is a little bit better. He's going to play like a guy like Nick Eamon-Warry, who went around this range last year. And Seattle just won a Super Bowl with Eamon-Warry leading their defense. I think McNeil-Warren can have the same impact on the Kansas City Chiefs team that's looking to make their 18th Super Bowl in the last 10 years. Pick number 41, I have the Cincinnati Bengals going with TJ Parker. TJ Parker could easily be a first-round pick in this draft. I just have him falling to 41. I said the same thing about Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. TJ Parker had an unbelievable Senior Bowl. He's very explosive off the line of scrimmage. And he fits very well in a Cincinnati defense that he could just replace Trey Hendrickson once he hits free agency. Because especially with all the things with the trade requests and everything, I don't think Trey Hendrickson stays in Cincinnati. And TJ Parker could be that guy alongside Shamar Stewart. If Shamar Stewart actually does end up breaking out, he dealt with contract issues, he dealt with injury issues, he didn't have a good rookie year. TJ Parker could end up being that guy. He goes from Tigers to Bengals. And I think that Cincinnati will think that they're getting a steal here at 41, because if we're being honest, he is. Pick number 42, I have the New Orleans Saints going a receiver, but I don't have them going with anybody here. I have them going with Chris Brazell out of Tennessee. Chris Brazell has unbelievable size. And I mean, he can just make an immediate impact in this New Orleans offense. He's going to run 6'5", 200 pounds. And I know that's not the typical size you want your receivers to be in today's NFL, but Chris Brazell comes down with literally everything, man. He can run routes. And I know it's bad taking a Tennessee receiver, but that's just because of guys like Jalen Hyatt who have ruined that. Guys like Dante Thornton who have ruined that. Chris Brazell is so much different than all of them. They were just go route merchants. Chris Brazell actually runs routes. He has a full tree of routes. And I think that pairing him alongside Chris Olave would be absolutely amazing. Pick 43 with the Miami Dolphins, I have them also going wide receiver, and I have them going Elijah Surratt out of Indiana. He was just a monster last year for Indiana. He provided you such a safe guy to throw the ball to with Fernando Mendoza throwing it. He has such reliable hands, such reliable route running, and he can play on the outside or he can play in the slot. He didn't play much in the slot because of Omar Cooper, but I mean, he can if he needs to. And I think that having a guy with his size, with his hands, playing alongside Jalen Waddle, I mean, he's 6'2", 213, that provides you size on the outside that they haven't had in years with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I think that would be invaluable, whether they keep Tua, whether they have Quinn Ewers, whether they sign somebody in free agency like Malik Willis to play quarterback for them. I think that Surratt could end up being a very, very good wide receiver in this league. Pick 44, the New York Jets are up again, and I have them taking Dylan Thieneman out of Oregon. Thieneman is another guy that very well could have gone in the first round, but he just doesn't in this mock, and that's okay. That's really okay, because he goes into a situation where he's pairing up with a guy like David Bailey, where he's pairing up with a guy like Caleb Banks. They go defense heavy in this mock draft, and I think that he will just make an immediate impact on the Jets. They haven't drafted a safety very high since Jamal Adams in 2017, and I think now's the time. Thieneman would be a perfect fit. Thieneman is an absolute monster, and don't be surprised if he makes it to the first round. He could very well be a Viking at pick 18. Pick number 45 with the Baltimore Ravens. I have a surprise pick here. I have him going with Jennings Dunker out of Iowa. Now, I know they have their tackle spots secured with Ronnie Stanley and Roger Rosengarten on the outside, but I think Jennings Dunker would just be an unbelievable guard in the NFL. It's very clear that they need guard. They can have Emory Jones slide in on the left side. They can have Jennings Dunker replace Daniel Faalele on the right side, and that would really secure their offensive line if they can keep Tyler Linderbaum inside. Jennings Dunker is just an absolute powerhouse. He's unbelievable in the passing game. He's unbelievable in the running game. He's not the quickest on his feet, but I think that's very teachable. And even if Roger Rosengarten leaves in free agency, I think next year or the year after that, I don't remember when he's a free agent, Jennings Dunker can slide right back outside once he learns how to properly rotate his hips and properly use his feet. But that's why I think he translates so well as a guard, is because he doesn't need to do that. He doesn't need to compete with a Myles Garrett on the outside. He doesn't need to compete with a potential TJ Parker on the outside or a TJ Watt on the outside. He can play on the inside. He can go after a Cameron Hayward, and he has the strength to do so. I think that whoever gets Jennings Dunker in this draft, I had him mocked in the first round like a month ago. No one thought that would happen. I still don't know if he's a first-round pick, but I wouldn't be surprised, especially after the combine. He's going to bench so many reps. Jennings Dunker is just an absolute freak, and I think that, especially as a Ravens fan, I would love this pick, and I think that all Ravens fans should love this pick. That leads me to pick number 46, where I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers attacking the inside of the field, and I have them going with Anthony Hill Jr. out of Texas. Anthony Hill isn't the speediest guy in the class, but my God, is he so good in the run. I mean, he's going to get you so many tackles. He can replace Levante David in this defense. I had them taking Sonny Styles in the last mock I dropped, but I mean, Sonny Styles obviously wasn't there at 15, so I think that Anthony Hill at 46 is the best thing possible for them, especially now that they can take a guy like Kenyon Sadiq at 15. Now we go to pick 47, where I have the Indianapolis Colts up for the first time, taking Blake Miller out of Clemson. Blake Miller was a right tackle at Clemson, and he was a great one at that. He had a great Senior Bowl. I think he could play either side on this Indianapolis offensive line. I mean, he's got unbelievable size. He's got unbelievable hands. He's 6'6", 315. I mean, he's a pure tackle. Honestly, he can go inside and play guard, too, if you need him to. He very much translates there. But I think if you want to get the most value out of him, you play him at tackle. And I think that especially after a very poor 2025 from Braden Smith, and with him hitting free agency, he could slot in a right tackle immediately. Pick number 48, we have the Atlanta Falcons coming up for the first time, actually. Back-to-back first-time draft picks. And I have them taking Keontae Scott out of Miami. Keontae Scott is just the best nickel available. I mean, he's such a monster. He plays so hard. We saw it in the playoffs. We've seen it all season long out of Miami, really. And he's just so explosive. He gets to the ball. He can play man. He's going to knock up your slot receiver. And I don't know if he's going to be able to play outside very much, but he can play nickel immediately for Atlanta, and I think that is a perfect pick. I'm going to have back-to-back cornerbacks going here, and I'm going to have Keith Abney going to the Minnesota Vikings at pick number 49. Unlike Keontae Scott, Keith Abney can play outside, and Keith Abney should play outside. They need an outside corner bad, and Keith Abney is simply just the best one available. I think Keith Abney's tape was unbelievable. I think he's going to test very well. He might run a very fast 40. He's got decent size, too. I mean, he's 6 foot 190. Just like everybody else in the class. So he's not small by any means, and he has very good arms. But I just think that he would fit very well in a Minnesota defense that needs cornerback bad. I had them taking Brandon Cisse last mock draft, and Keith Abney in the second is a very good compensation pick. Pick number 50, I'm going to have the Detroit Lions going edge rusher, and they're going to take Zion Young out of Missouri. I've talked about the Senior Bowl a lot in this mock draft, and Zion Young is another guy that had an unbelievable... Look at this guy. Inverted. Look at this guy. He's huge. I mean, the aura this guy has is ridiculous. He gets to the quarterback at will. I don't think he's explosive per se. I don't think he has unbelievable counter moves. And he's not relatively great during the run. But, I mean, his first step is just unbelievable. What I saw on tape out of Missouri is like he just beats tackles to the spot. He beats tackles to the spot consistently, and I think that he very much could do that in the defense with Aiden Hutchinson on the other side, and I that translates very well to the NFL. And I think that this would be a great pick for the Detroit Lions. I say that every pick. I need to stop saying that every pick. Pick 41, I have the Carolina Panthers going with Kristen Miller out of Georgia. Kristen Miller, just like a Caleb Banks, just like a Lee Hunter, is going to line up as a 3-tech or a 2-eye, and he's going to make an immediate impact somewhere. And that somewhere just happens to be Carolina in this mock. He's very, very, very strong. He's very good against the run, and he's shut up a Georgia defense in this last couple of years that has been relatively disappointing, but the run game has still been there, and Kristen Miller is arguably the biggest reason why, other than maybe C.J. Allen, of course. Pick number 52, I have the Green Bay Packers going tackle, and I have them going Caleb Tiernan out of Northwestern. This tackle class isn't relatively great, but there are 6 guys, in my opinion, that are just very, very good. And Caleb Tiernan happens to be one of those guys. He's not a name I've seen a lot, but he just fits the bill. He's a big tackle. He's 6'7", 325, just absolute ham hock back there. I think you've noticed a trend. I'm going to say pause when I say this. I like big tackles. I like big guys on the offensive line, and Caleb Tiernan is that. And I think that what he provides you from a strength standpoint, both in the pass game and the run game, is exactly what Green Bay needs. Their offensive line has been very mediocre as of late. They're going to cut Elgton Jenkins as a cap hit. They need offensive line, and I think securing up a tackle spot is exactly what could help them, especially after Jordan Morgan being drafted was just not a great pick. That leads me to pick number 53, where I have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking the second quarterback off the board, and it's going to be Ty Simpson out of Alabama. Pittsburgh needs quarterback arguably more than anybody in the entire NFL, and Ty Simpson is a guy that could easily go in the first round. I just think that he ends up falling to pick 53, at least right now. Maybe after the combine, I don't know. Maybe it depends on free agency, all that stuff. But Ty Simpson very well could be a first-round pick. He could go to the Rams. He could go to the Steelers at 21 even. But, I think that if the Steelers took him at 53, they would be ecstatic in their war room. He's not the best quarterback. He is probably the most upside in this class outside of Mendoza. He's going to be the second quarterback off the board no matter where he goes. This is just where I have him going. Simple as that. Pick 54, I have the Philadelphia Eagles taking one of my guys in this draft, and that's Derek Moore out of Michigan. This is another guy that had an unbelievable Senior Bowl. He is just so elusive and so aggressive off the first step. He has such an unbelievable speed to power move, and I think that is so effective in today's league. I wouldn't be surprised if Derek Moore goes higher. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in the first round to someone like New England. But Derek Moore deserves some love. He's an unbelievable player, and he's going to get drafted very high. Pick 55, I have the Chargers attacking interior offensive line, and I'm going way down for this pick. I have them taking Bo Stevens out of Iowa. Bo Stevens is an absolute monster on the inside. Similar to Jennings Dunker, I think this guy is just an absolute physical specimen. He's 6'5", 315. He's going to be able to play guard spot at either side. And he's just an absolute monster. PFF has him ranked like 150. They're losing their minds. Bo Stevens is an absolute dog, and I think the Chargers would love to get him at 55. Pick 56, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking A.J. Halsey out of LSU. A.J. Halsey is a guy that can play deep for them. A.J. Halsey is a guy that can just be the safety that they need behind a guy like Travis Hunter, behind a guy like Greg Newsome, who I think is a free agent. But, even behind a guy like Jordan Lewis in the nickel. Like, A.J. Halsey is very good. If it wasn't for Dylan Thieneman, if it wasn't for Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, we would be talking about A.J. Halsey as a potential first-round pick as the second best safety in this class. But he's fourth, in my opinion, and he's so unbelievably good. He's very, very athletic, and I think he's unbelievable in coverage as well. Pick number 57, I have the Chicago Bears also going with safety, and I have them going with Kamari Ramsey out of USC. Kamari Ramsey is a guy that can immediately come in and play the C.J. Gardner-Johnson role. He can play deep. He can play in the box. He can play in the nickel. I think other than having him out deep, I think having him in the nickel is where he will shine the most. And he's unbelievable. He's great in coverage. Similar to A.J. Halsey. I'm not going to just repeat the same things, but he has very similar traits to A.J. Halsey. He just translates better in the slot, in my opinion, compared to A.J. Halsey. I think they both can play deep, and I think Kamari Ramsey would be an amazing fit in Chicago. Pick number 58, I have the San Francisco 49ers taking Chris Bell out of Louisville. The only reason he isn't going higher in this mock draft is because of his injury history, similar to Jordan Tyson. But Chris Bell is an arguable first-round talent. This guy is awesome. He's got size. He's got speed. He's 6'2", 220. He can come down with any catch. He can run any route. He's great. He was easily the best player on the Louisville Cardinals in the last 2 years, I'd say. And I think if he's able to stay healthy and if he's able to show what he did in 2024, that he will have an immediate impact in San Francisco. Pick number 59. I have the Houston Texans going running back, but it may not be the running back you think. Not Jadarian Price, not Jonah Coleman. I've been going with Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska. Emmett Johnson is so good. I mean, he's a personal guy for me. He's a personal pick for me. I saw this guy play in person when they played Maryland, and he had one of the best runs I've ever seen in person. He was just breaking tackle after tackle after tackle. He has unbelievable balance. I think he's the second best running back in this class. And with Joe Mixon being up there in age, Joe Mixon is not guaranteed to play ever again, especially not in Houston. Woody Marks just isn't doing it. He has like no vision in the backfield. I think that Emmett Johnson would immediately be a day one starter in Houston. And I think that for you fantasy guys out there, he would provide a lot of value as well. Emmett Johnson would be an unbelievable pick here for Houston. He is one of my guys. He's going to be so good in the league. Pick number 60, I have the Buffalo Bills taking interior linebacker, and I have them taking Jake Golday out of Cincinnati. Other than Sonny Styles, I think that Jake Golday might be the best coverage guy in this class. He has unbelievable intangibles, unbelievable traits. He reminds me very much of a guy like Devin Lloyd, where Devin Lloyd is just great in coverage. He can play the run. Jake Golday's not going to have the athleticism as the guys drafted above him, like an Anthony Hill or CJ Allen. Obviously not Sonny Styles, but he's just such a smart guy. He's such a smart ball player. I think there's a chance that he can go in the first round. He might go over CJ Allen. He might go over Anthony Hill. He just happens to fall to Buffalo here. Like I said, he could be Buffalo's first round pick, but now he's Buffalo's second round pick. And I think that that is an absolute steal for a guy with the IQ that this guy has at the Mike position. Pick 61. This may be a surprise to some of you, but I am going to have the Los Angeles Rams taking Trayden Stukes out of Arizona. I know I had them taking Chris Johnson in the first round, and he can play nickel if he needs to, but Trayden Stukes is a pure nickelback. Trayden Stukes can play back deep. Trayden Stukes can play in the slot, but where he's going to have value is in the slot. I think other than Keontae Scott, I think that Trayden Stukes is the best pure nickel in this class, and he's going to make an impact somewhere. His ball skills are ridiculous. He jumps routes. He makes plays in the air. He makes plays physically on receivers, and he's going to get a lot of picks in the NFL, especially if he's used right. And I think that the Rams under Sean McVay are going to be a team that are able to use him very, very efficiently. Pick 62, I have the Denver Broncos attacking interior offensive line. I have them going with the first center off the board. I have them going Connor Lew out of Auburn. Connor Lew is the best center in this class, but that's not saying much. This is a very weak center class. I'm just a big fan of Connor Lew. He's very strong. He's a very wide base. He's very good against the run. He's not going to be like a Creed Humphrey or a Tyler Linderbaum, but I think he could be a very effective center in the NFL. He can start day one in Denver. He will probably be starting there for a very long time. There's very little downside with Connor Lew. And I think that with a team like Denver who's trying to compete, they just made the AFC Championship. I think that drafting a guy who can help them win now and help them win in the foreseeable future is where they will go here. Pick 63, I have the New England Patriots going defensive tackle, doubling up in the trenches in this draft. I have them going with Dante Corleone out of Cincinnati. Dante Corleone is a big guy. Look at that. Look at his pads. Jeez. What a ham hock. I keep using the term ham hock, but it's just how I feel. This guy's huge. He's 6'1", 335, but he plays like he's 375. This guy's unbelievable against the run. He's so unbelievably strong. He's going to be able to shed blocks. He's going to be able to just manipulate the offensive line. He's going to be able to grab them at their pad level. And if he's getting grabbed at his pad level, swiping them away with ease because you're not going to want to get hit there by this guy. This guy is so strong. He's going to hit you so hard. And if he breaks off a shed and you have someone going up the A-gap, he's going to obliterate them at the first level. It makes it 2 Cincinnati draft picks in the last 4, and I mean, they're just both great players. I think Dante Corleone is a guy that will translate very well to the league. With the last pick of the second round, there are a lot of ways I could go here with Seattle, but I think I'm going to have them taking cornerback, which is what I should have done in the first round. And I just want to show some love to D'Angelo Pons. I mean, D'Angelo Pons is such a good ball player. He's a small guy. He's 5'9", and that's the only reason he's not a first-round pick, in my opinion. I mean, he's so good. He plays so aggressively. He plays so smart. And despite his size, he makes plays on the ball. He's unbelievable in coverage, too. Like I could go on and on about D'Angelo Pons. I think that he's not getting the love he deserves just because of his size. And if he plays on a team like Seattle, where they have an elite defensive coach like Mike McDonald. They have elite guys behind him like Nicky Minwori and maybe Kobe Bryant if he stays. But even then, like Seattle just has an elite secondary, and I think that D'Angelo Ponce, whether he's playing in the nickel or on the outside with a guy like Nicky Minwori behind him, will make an impact in the NFL. But that's going to do it. That was my first 2-round mock draft of the offseason going into the combine. I will do more of these after the combine. I will probably do a breakdown of who I thought stood out at the combine. And I want you guys to let me know what you think of the picks. Every single team was mentioned in this mock, considering it went 2 rounds. So I want you to let me know in the comments what you thought of the players I took for your team. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you like draft content like this, because there's going to be more coming. All right, that's going to do it, guys. Peace. Do you want to say hi?
But it's not filming now.
Yeah, it is.
Oh. Hello.